Welcome to the Thursday edition of CBS Sports HQ, presented by Canva. Love your work. We love our work. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Chris Hassel.
I like your confidence.
One of the rare appearances that we get to do together. Usually they keep the guys with the best hair apart. So
I wore a sweater for you today.
I was going to say, you got, if you any doubts, it's apple picking season. Chris is all laid out for it.
It dipped below 80 degrees in Florida, so I figured it's fall. Let's break out the quarter zip, right?
And then you walk into the studio and it's 80 degrees in here.
It is 60 degrees, if that, up in the newsroom.
It's true, yeah.
Fans blowing directly on us, and now in the studio it's like 75, so might be a few sweat beads. We've got Thursday night football tonight, kicking off the week in the NFL with the Vikings at the Rams. Vikings coming off their first loss of the season. The Rams getting Cooper Kupp back. So Matthew Stafford starting to get some of those weapons back, unless they end up trading some of them before the deadline, which is November the 5th. Let's get Bryant, McFadden, and Emory Hunt in here. And B-Mac, let's start with Cooper Kupp. What do you expect to see from him tonight? His first action in about 6 weeks.
Production. The thing about Cooper Kupp, when he has been healthy and being in the lineup, he is going to get opportunities. When you talk about their scheme and how they utilize Cooper Kupp, it's almost a guarantee he's going to give you numbers, even though he might receive extra attention. But the way they use him, move him in from the slot, he's in the backfield, he does a lot, and he does so well. Matthew Stafford is going to find a way to get him the football, and oftentimes they're doing that in a consistent way more than not. So I expect to see Cooper Kupp, number 10, heavily involved in the game plan, hearing that he is cleared to play.
Heavily involved in the game plan, B-Mac, may not particularly mean heavily involved in targets. We may see him be utilized more so as a decoy to open things up for other people, and then when crunch time comes, it can break in case of emergency. We may see them utilize him, throwing him the football. But I agree with you. This is someone, when he's out there, if he's healthy, he's ready to go. You want to involve him in a game plan. But I'll be fascinated to see how much we see him integrated into this offense right away in terms of first game back off that ankle, whether or not he's going to get a lot of these targets. You see a lot of these stop and pivot routes that he's mastered over the course of his career. But I think this is a ploy to try to get him to pull some coverage away from other receivers, but also open up that run game that so desperately needs to get going for Los Angeles.
And, of course, lots of rumors swirling about Kupp being on the trade block. He's aware of those rumors. B-Mac, what if you're the Rams? I mean, you're sitting there, you're 2-4, but you're only a game and a half out in the division. You might get Puka back sometime soon as well. What do you do? What would you have to get in return for Kupp?
It has to be an outstanding deal when it comes to the compensation if you were to trade Cooper away, because to your point, yes, you're 2 games below 500, but the window is still open within your division because of the uncertainty with the other teams. So you got off to a bad start primarily because of injuries, and if you're trading away Cooper Kupp, you're basically saying you're in the midst of a rebuild, and 2024 is pretty much down the drain, and you're focusing all of your attention on the future. So that's where I'm a bit concerned, because they still have a shot. This is a competitive team. They're 2-4, and I don't like to say this and categorize teams as this, but they might be the best 2-4 team in the National Football League, because they've been a play here, a play there away from having 2 or 3 more wins. But it has to be an outstanding deal where you really can't say no, because Cooper Kupp, when he is healthy, he is great at what he does. It's not just about catching passes, but just think about how they implement him in the running game. Cooper Kupp is a football player that happens to play the wide receiver position, and that's how he attacks his day-to-day job, and I love it. So if you remove him, you're just basically saying this is a wash. The season is over, and I still believe they should have hope in understanding and knowing how wide open the window is in the division.
What'll be fascinating is to see which teams will peek their head around the corner and say, hey, man, we could use a Cooper Kupp. Instantly, I think of Buffalo. We know they just made the move for Emory Cooper. Instantly, I think someone like the New Orleans Saints, who have a need for any healthy body at wide receiver. I think of some other teams. Kansas City feels as though, hey, why not? We play with free money anyway, kind of like New Orleans, in terms of we just got DeAndre Hopkins. Let's go get Cooper Kupp. So there's going to be a lot of suitors. But I agree with you, B-Mac. Why would you, as the Rams, punt on the season where you're still within striking distance of the top of the division. And we saw this Rams football team do this last season, get on a hot run and end up making a postseason. So why give up right now, especially when you need other guys to be healthy and ready to go to feel free to move off of a Cooper Kupp? So it would be a bad move for Los Angeles, but if you're any one of these other teams that I've mentioned, what a great opportunity to go grab someone that can come in and help you today in terms of your receiving core.
At 2-4, it is the worst 6-game start for Sean McVay as a head coach, but they are coming off a win. We mentioned the division and how everybody's kind of stacked up, and Seahawks are on top right now, but it still doesn't feel like you have a lot of faith in them. Emory, if the Rams can get this win tonight, how much of a factor could they be in the playoff race and the division race moving forward?
Definitely in the division race, Chris. When you think about what we've been talking about, they're not as healthy on offense, and they can't get their run game going. But you get a Cooper Kupp back. At some point, you're going to get Puka Nacua back. We know what they have in the backfield with Kyron Williams and company. The entire offense depends on each other. So when you have those full parts out there, it makes everything go. So if they can get this win tonight, I feel like this is a great opportunity for them to get on a roll, because they're going to get healthier. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to throw the football short and intermediate and win those type of battles. And defensively, they're going to be able to continue to get off the field. We like what we're seeing from the young guys in the secondary. We know they got 2 rookies on the edge that can really bring it and be productive. They're going to get better as the season goes on. So all is not lost. You're only down, 2 games out of first place. So if they can get a win tonight versus an NFC opponent, not only helps put you in position to catch the top of the division, but also now you're in play for that 7th seed in the wild card.
And to piggyback on Emory's point about winning tonight, you're 3-4, and the next 4 games on their schedule. At Seattle, you have Miami and New England. I'm sorry, the next 3 games after tonight's matchup against the Rams. You have Seattle, Miami, and New England. Winnable games. And one thing we know about Sean McVay, guys, in his division, healthy or not, they compete. And one would hope that you could potentially get Puka Nacua back in that 3-game stretch as well. That improves your chances of winning, because instantly your offense they get better running the football and throwing the football, and that will boost the morale of the defense as well. So they can take care of their business. They're 3-4, and then you have Seattle, Miami, New England. Those are winnable matchups. Winnable matchups, in my opinion. So this is a defining opportunity for them, because you look at the Vikings and how well they played. If they can find a way to scratch and claw and win this game tonight, I mean, the 3-game stretch moving forward after the Vikings games should put them in a prime position to really disrupt some things within the division alone.
And the Vikings, of course, coming off their first loss of the season last week against the Lions. And every team that has lost to Detroit one week has had a very bad performance the following week. Emory, is that a trend that worries you if you're a Vikings fan?
Well, it's almost like every person that goes to Vegas and spends the night in Vegas has a bad morning the next morning, right? The reason why it happens with Detroit is because Detroit is so physical. So you playing a physical opponent, you're probably beat up, then you try to have to go and play another physical game. But I think for Minnesota, when you look at how they played Detroit, it was so good in terms of, hey, man, we took their best punch, we fought back, and we almost had a chance to win that ball game. I think they have a little bit more confidence coming even on a short week to do what they have to do to make sure that's not the case and that's not a trend that continues to move on. But I like the fact that we saw the Vikings punch back against a team that usually throws and lands a bunch of haymakers in Detroit. The Vikings didn't move. They staggered, but they didn't fall down. And so now you see them on the other side coming out on a short week. And I think they're battle-tested and ready to go against this Rams team, who we're still questioning whether or not they even have a punch.
Well, that Vegas trend that you just gave us, it doesn't resonate for everyone, especially me, Emory, because I have a night in Vegas. My morning is great because I do not drink. And with that being said, that same trend that we've seen from teams that lost to the Lions, to your point, I agree with you. I don't think that will affect or surface with the Vikings in this matchup, and here's why. Minnesota, they squandered away that game last week to the Lions. They had multiple opportunities to seal it, and they did not. I think they were the more physical team. If you look at what they did, I mean, yes, Detroit, they brought their physical style, they ran the football, but Minnesota was going toe-to-toe, blow for blow with the Detroit Lions. And the thing I love about Minnesota in this spot in terms of why I don't expect to see that trend of playing the Vikings, the Lions, and losing to them and then losing the next week surface, because Kevin O'Connell is a really, really good coach. I think Kevin O'Connell is one of the top coaches in the National Football League when you look at having to do more with less. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's who Kevin O'Connell is, and he understands in that division, the NFC North, it's the total opposite than what we talked about with the NFC West. The room for error is very, very small. You have to take care of the games that you're supposed to take care of, because in that division, every game is important, regardless if it's against a divisional foe or not. So he understands that, he will emphasize that. So I think they show up big time in a bounce-back way.
And O'Connell facing the Rams, his former team, for the first time since coming over after winning the Super Bowl as offensive coordinator. Love Your Work, presented by Canva, and it's X Factors tonight. B-Mac, yours is on that Viking side, and someone who, incredibly, has the most scrimmage yards through 6 Vikings games since Adrian Peterson in 2007.
No question. My X factor for the Minnesota Vikings is Aaron Jones. I wish I had some glasses, the sunglasses and the sombrero hat like he wears, but unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get that from Amazon quick enough, so I'm without. But the reason why he is my X factor is because the Rams defensively, the run defense, they've been poor. They've been very, very feeble. They allowed 151 yards on the ground game the entire season. They currently rank 30th in the National Football League in run defense. Get this, in their 4 losses, the teams they played against, the Detroit Lions as a team, they ran for 163 yards. Arizona as a team ran for 231 yards. Chicago as a team, 131, and Green Bay, 126. Every team that has beaten the Rams, they've dominated them in the trenches and had success running the football. Aaron Jones, in relay terms, he has to be the first leg and the final leg. And when it comes to their rushing relay, he has to get things starting, running the football, and he has to finish the drill in the 4th quarter. Because every other team that has beaten the Rams, they ran the ball effectively. I need Aaron Jones to show up. And if you look at his numbers when he's received double-digit carries, this is a guy that has given you real good numbers running the football. He has to be the X factor, and we have to love his work in tonight's matchup for the Vikings to win.
I don't know if y'all saw the CBS Sports Research Analytics Department put out some great stats, like Florida State is 1-6 this season in college football. But big reason why that is they have 2 outstanding edge guys that are playing in the NFL instead of playing for Florida State. Braden Fisk, who's questionable tonight, so we'll still see if he goes out there and gives it a go. But Jared Verse has been phenomenal for the Rams so far as a rookie. I think both guys are going to have to be X factors, because what we see defensively from the Rams is they want to fly up the field, right? And we know Kevin O'Connell's offense is a lot similar to what we've seen from Sean McVay. They want to get you going east and west with the eye candy, and you have to play disciplined mentally, but also have to keep that back door closed, because they love to run those naked bootlegs with Darnold and get him outside the pocket. And if you fly and crash down the front side, now you leave the back door open. Also in the run game, can you set a physical edge? So they're going to count on these guys to really step up, not only be strong and stout versus the run, and also athletic enough to chase the run going away, but you have to be cognizant enough to not get caught taking the cheese. As a defensive lineman, you're young, you're rookie, you want to splash play on Thursday Night Football and lose contain where the quarterback gets outside the pocket. And you're also dealing with a mobile quarterback in Sam Darnold. How these young edge guys play could determine how well this defense does against this Vikings offensive attack, and B-Mac's mentioning of Aaron Jones.
B-Mac, I'm sorry you got that stray there, but that is a next-level stat that FSU is 1-6 overall.
Yeah, I feel like Emory could have made a great point with Brady and Jarrett without mentioning the 2024 Florida State football team and their record. That had nothing to do with everything you gave us about what those Ram players are doing, Emory. And I feel like you're just trying to be a little petty, but I'm not going to allow you to mess up my great Thursday that I'm having.
Yeah, don't worry, B-Mac. It'll all turn around this weekend when you guys play Miami. I'm sure of it.
Well, listen, I will say this about my brother Bryant McFadden over there. You notice that shirt he's wearing is not garnet, it is vermilion. I get it, B-Mac. We all want to be a Raging Cajun. I get it.
It is the same color as that Louisiana helmet behind Emory. Hey, I've got a couple stats for you. Vikings 5-1 against the spread this season. Rams 1-5 against the spread this season. The Rams are getting 3 at home tonight. B-Mac, what's your play?
Well, my play is the the Minnesota Vikings laying 2.5.
Yeah, we're down to 2.5 now.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was going to hit on, guys. We've seen some line movement. It's something about this line is very, very funny because for Minnesota to be, 5-1, we talked about the struggles with the Rams, 2-4, they're only laying 2.5 points. I would think 3.5, 4 points, but something about this line is very, very funny. But I'm going to pay to find out if it's legit or not. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I talked about Kevin O'Connell and seeing how well he's coached his guys and knowing how important this ball game is. But I'm a bit concerned with this line, guys. 2.5, it seems to be a little weird based on how well Minnesota is playing, even coming off of last week's loss and looking at all the issues with the Rams.
Yeah, I think this is an overcorrection to Cooper Kupp and them playing at home. I'm with you, B-Mac. I'm going to lay these points with the Vikings. I'd rather lose and find out, because, again, this is a very good team. I think they take care of business on the road.
All right, Emory Hunt, Bryant, McFadden with us here giving picks for tonight's Thursday nighter to kick off the week in the NFL. Much more NFL content all across HQ platforms. Head on over to the CBS Sports YouTube page. We've got our picks show with Kyle Long and Pete Prisco, where we pick every game against the spread. Kyle is 6-1 in his best bets this season. Find out who his best bet is this week on the CBS Sports YouTube page.